it still says go live. Okay. Oh, all right. It's right. Hi. Does anybody see us? Hello. Hi.
Is anybody actually watching?
Is somebody out there? La la la. Oh. Okay. So if anyone is watching, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that we are, in fact, it says that we're live in a few places. And this is my first time using this specific software. So let's see here. All right. And you are the actual guinea pig here. Oh my. I'm not really certain. See, what happens here is that I actually have this platform for myself and a few other companies. And a specific person in the company, build the scene. We're going to throw Bill under the bus. He comes to me and he says, hey, this doesn't work real well. We were using the duck one, StreamYard. And he says, hey, so this isn't really working great for me. So if there's, this other platform that we could use, like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and use it. And then I came in and I'm like, hey, am I setting this up right? Am I doing this right? And he's like, oh, you got this. But like, I never thought about what I would need to know once everything was actually live.
It's fine. We got this.
So this is just like what we're doing here. And supposedly, if you can see us, you're watching either on First Angel Media or one of my profiles. So thank you. If you don't know who I am, this is horribly abrupt. That weird name in the corner there, says Jana Chica. I'm the owner of First Angel Media. I am also a photographer, sometimes model, writer, chaotic entity. Kind of.
Sounds accurate.
Something. Mm-hmm. This person over here, I have never met before in my life.
This is absolute stranger danger. I don't know you. That's my person.
Absolute. Yeah. Dude, Bobby is the shit. Okay, that's all I have to say. Bobby is the shit. But this is Zach Cunningham, from As I Speak. And where all can we find you? Just in case, we lose anybody.
Well, I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Kind of still on X, but I don't really use it that much anymore. Threads. And of course, I'm on all the streaming services: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. The whole works with it.
I'm wearing one of your Label Mate shirts. Here, we'll just show off the tatas. Woo-hoo, see, silhouette death. So,
my God, the performance!
Another place.
The performance spike.
So, where else can they find you other than As I Speak or Zach Cunningham?
Oh, I am on Facebook and Instagram as well.
So, Lunar Records.
That as well. Yes.
He forgets he's signed.
God, don't say that.
He forgets he's cool enough for a label to want him.
Oh my God, no! They'll kick me off the label. Are you serious right now? You trying to get me fired?
No. He does not forget.
Caleb and Deja are gonna be like, "Oh, we forgot we signed you, so bye."
I mean, no. They know they signed you. They even used you on a certain. I'm going to let you do it on a certain movie.
Yes, Overnight. they used my cover of Bad Omens, Just Pretend, on Overnight, and they had actually specifically asked me if I would cover it for the movie. So that was cool
Awesome. I didn't
because
realize that.
it wasn't. I mean, I love the song, but like, I would not have. I wouldn't have picked to cover them just because. I mean, Noah's range is like a lot higher than mine, so we actually had to change the key of the song to do it. Um, but it turned out really, really cool. A lot of people have told me they like it. They like that version more because it's more guitar focused and less of like the electronic production, which is, I mean, I definitely I appreciate the compliment for sure, but I guess I didn't really think about it as much while we were doing it. So it's interesting to hear what people pick up when they listen to your music and like where their brain takes them, because I didn't really even consider that at all during the process.
I could see that, but I've always kind of known you as a guitarist.
Yeah.
So like it's probably a place where you naturally like go, if that makes. See, normally I would have a co-host here who knows about music.
Yeah.
But the bearded wonder has decided he wants to go see if he can pet some grizzlies. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. I think he's just finding any reason he can not to hang out with me. I've already decided. I'm taking it personally.
I'm going to be quite honest with you. He was so mad that he couldn't be on here. He was like justifiably pissed. He doesn't get mad about most things, but he was so mad about this, and we had like this whole thing to we're actually prepared for your interview and the next interview.
Mm-hmm.
And we never do that. We're never prepared. Ever. Okay? And yours was actually harder because we both know you. See, there's like, I'm giving away one of the show things here. How we normally do it is one of us knows the guest. We know them at least well enough to be able to speak fluently about their work, about who they are as a person. The other one knows nothing. They go into it blind.
That's kind of cool. That's a cool concept. I like that.
And yeah, it allows for like newbie questions and everything like that. But
yeah, it can keep things really organic. That's a cool idea.
Right. In fact, for for next week's with JT, okay, you know him. Yeah, if anybody go check out Beyond the Breakdown podcast for another interview that Zach did. But so we're interviewing JT, and I don't know him. So I am intentionally not speaking to him much in Messenger. Because I don't want it to become unorganic and me just like sit there like, so what about this thing you do? What about that thing you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with you, I've known you 8 years.
Going on 8, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
isn't that crazy?
I was thinking about that today. Like, it's seriously nuts that I have known you this long. And I met you, it was just like by chance down at 123 Pleasant Street. Is that it?
Yeah, you met me, like, I think right as Control was either in the mixing process or it had just been completed. Because I remember letting Jerry listen to it and he was pissed. He was like, I remember it was just, not really pissed, but he was like, that sounds so fucking good. I'm so annoyed with you. Because like a lot of people, I mean, including myself, I never really like purported myself as a vocalist. Any project that I've ever been in, I would always kind of like teeter between either being rhythm guitars, an occasional lead, or just rhythm guitars. So way back when, Control was like my first step into putting out like an original song under my own name. And so yeah, it was Pleasant Street because Winter's Descent was playing there. I remember.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I remember when you first sent me, because I knew you as a guitarist and sometimes
Mhm.
like backing vocals, but with the kind of music you kind of got drawn out. I see something that says, "I'm sorry, I love you both." I don't know. It just says Facebook user on here. We love you too. I can't see you, but I'm certain that I love
Yeah.
you because, like, yeah. Um, but you sent me a track, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's actually you!" Because I had never gotten to hear you, and you at the time were very self-diminishing. Like you were like, "Oh, it's just me messing around. It's just," but like fast forward 8 years almost,
Mhm.
and oh, he's petting bears. It's Justin. We do love you, Justin, even though we're so mad you're not here.
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
But you were kind of like self-deprecating at the time with the like, I don't think I could really do that. I don't. And now here you are, and you're not only doing it on your own, but you're signed to a label doing it. And this isn't like a local label. It's a label I know very well. It's people I know very well. So I know that whenever they signed you, maybe you don't realize this. They own, he says, don't be disappointed, Daddy Zach.
He's grounded. I'm not talking to him for a week. I'm done.
But you may not realize how I hate to use the word picky because it has like negative connotation. And if there's anything it is nowhere near negative. Um, they are selective. When they pick an artist, they know it is someone who is worth backing, someone that they love the music personally, someone that they see already out there pushing themselves and they want to help do that. So, like, I'm not saying they're an exclusive label, but like, they don't have a ton of artists, not because they can't get them, but because they are selective and want to focus on who they have.
Yeah, definitely. I was very fortunate that I remember sending an email to their site. I don't even remember how I came across them,
I was going to
and
ask.
I don't know. It's been so long now. Gosh, it's been 2 years since I've been signed to Solunar now. Um, that I don't quite remember how I came across them, but I remember just going to their website, and it was after it was shortly after I had released my cover of Colors, and I'd sent them a link, I believe, to Control and Still Breathing. And it was like a week or so later that I heard back. I want to say it was from Caleb. And I ended up getting on like a video call with them like a week later, and we were talking, and they were like, "We want to sign you." And I was like, "Really?" Because like, um, because I'm still working out the kinks on doing this, but I told him I was upfront with it at the time. I was like, "Listen, I can't right now put together a band. You know, I'm going the avenue of I'm going to try to release music as frequently as possible and try to build an audience, and then I'm going to go out and play, live shows." And they were very supportive and understanding, and they were like, "Man, like we totally get it. That's totally cool." And I mean, we'd mostly gone back to normal since COVID by the time I got signed to them, but it was still kind of, people were still a little paranoid and a little weird about being out anyways. So I think it just kind of worked out in that process. And they've been really supportive ever since. They've never been like demanding of me. They've always understood if I had shit going on that kind of like was a hiccup in my creative process or getting a song done and stuff. Like they've always been super supportive. So I definitely can't say enough nice things about Caleb and Deja.
I love hearing that. I do have a question though, because it kind of goes into something like I said, normally Justin has this plethora of artist information, because he's actually living it. Whereas I'm not exactly on the outside of the scene, but I've never been an artist in the way you guys are. So while you're saying that about Solunar and Caleb, especially because he is a solo artist and he kind of gets it, you know what I mean? He's there with you. A few people that are on the label are solo artists, including, Silhouette Death here. And so I have to ask, like, that, I can see where his mind is like, no, dude, I get it. You now work with artists on a different level now in a recording studio.
Yeah, definitely working my way into that.
And you just graduated and everything like that. It took you forever to get your degree.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you really, this wasn't like some overnight fly-by-night kind of thing. You did the coursework. You did the classes. So, do you feel that that kind of gives you insight whenever you're in the studio with another artist to be like, oh, no, dude, I get it. I understand. Here's something that works for me sometimes.
I think the only thing that's really changed since I finished out my program, one, that is the most expensive MacBook I have ever purchased, and two, I would say the only thing that really changed was I got more insight onto the business side of music. I got more insight and appreciation for all the production that can go into different songs. In terms of working with other artists in the studio, my brain is most creative when I am in the studio. So if there's something I'm hearing in my head, I definitely ask them to try it. Just because it's one of those things where, like, it doesn't matter how, like, even if they have an idea, like, it doesn't matter how dumb your idea sounds or if someone else thinks it's dumb, like, let's just try it to see if it works. So I guess really finishing my program really didn't have much of an effect on my creative side going into the studio. It just, I kind of brought in my knowledge in other areas.
Okay. All right. Because I wondered if, like, I don't know, if that would ever cause you to be like, oh, that vocal technique, maybe am I doing this right? Am I, does it, I don't know. Because sometimes as a photographer, I don't do it so much as a model because I'm only a sometimes model. You know what I mean? Like, I work with models. I'm just a sometimes model. So whenever I see like another model, I'm just like, oh, wow, gorgeous. Whereas if I see another photographer, I'm like, wait, how did they do that? Because, like, I kind of want to do that. And how do I mimic the look that I'm loving from here? Speaking of love, we do have Beyond the Breakdown podcast. Jumping in for a second to say much love to both of you. I just kind of wanted to acknowledge him.
What's up, man?
But yeah, I'm just wondering, does that, do you ever get something and you hear something and you're like, I wonder if I can do that?
Yeah, I've watched a ton of like videos on YouTube and stuff. It was so funny. It was like I felt like I couldn't find anything on YouTube until I started going to school. And then all of a sudden, like the floodgates of the YouTube algorithm opened up.
I was going to say that
finding
algorithm.
videos. And so I've watched a lot of production stuff. I've watched how people approach producing like pop music, and like how they will layer the same part like 4 or 5 different ways. And then what they'll do is they'll export all of those layers together into one track. So like if you were to listen to like a multi-track of a pop song, and you listen to like one of them, like some backing section, that could be 4 or 5 parts layered into one track alone. There's so many layers when it comes to like the production side, especially with pop music. So yeah, there's frequently times where I'm like, man, how did they get that sound? Like it's not coming out of the stock plugin. Like there's a lot of sound design in music, and it really takes time to master that craft.
Is that something you do? Like, how do you approach? I noticed that there are people who are solo artists. I do know a lot of you, but I do notice that there are people who are solo artists that kind of they either want to be the best in the studio, which seems to come with the layering of tracks, or they want to be able to always do live shows exactly as you would hear it recorded in their music. So do you feel you're one, the other, somewhere between?
So I feel like I'm kind of in between, and it's a tough line to walk, because like a lot of like the bigger artists out there that have like huge production value to their music, like tons of programming and layering and stuff, kind of like Bring Me the Horizon, Dayseeker, Architect, stuff like that. Like they have a sound guy that they take on tour with them to make sure none of that stuff gets screwed up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like you have someone making sure all that runs smoothly. People are playing to a click, so everything's running in the background and they don't have to worry about anything. But you know, being a smaller artist, and more independent, or however you want to phrase it, you don't really have the luxury of that. You're kind of at the mercy of the venue and hope that the sound guy knows what he's doing. So I think it's probably the safer bet starting out, that you kind of write music in a way where you can do it without the backing tracks live, and the song doesn't fall apart. And I think as you grow and you have the opportunities to do so, you can expand on that and really make it into something. But to come out of the gates, I think you're asking for trouble. So my approach to writing my songs is I really like to be involved in the production side of things. I did some programming for the verses and Surrender. But the verses live would work without them. But it's like one of those things, if you took them out of the recording, you would notice they were gone.
So you mentioned, like, smaller artists, local artists, however you want to say it. Mm-hmm. What do you consider yourself?
Oh, definitely a smaller artist, for sure. I mean, I've been doing As I Speak now for 2 years, and I haven't been able to go out and do a live show yet, just because like the talent pool of available players in the area are kind of on the slim side. So it's been hard. So I mean, I wouldn't say a ton of people know who I am. So I'm very much an unknown artist still, even though I've got like 8 songs out now.
I was actually kind of hoping, because you know me and I am a smart ass, and I was kind of hoping that you were going to call yourself a local artist, because living in West Virginia, working in Pittsburgh, and signed to a Texas label, local to where, sir?
Yeah.
But damn it, you foiled me.
Honestly, it would definitely be hard to pinpoint me as necessarily like a local artist. And
yeah,
I think it's kind of, I don't know if everyone kind of looks at it this way, but being called a local artist kind of denotes I feel like a certain skill level, professional level that may not be fitting to the band. So I think I prefer like the nomenclature of like, independent artist, smaller artist or maybe like a regional artist, something like that. Just something that kind of doesn't give someone a preconceived notion in their head before they even listen to you. And, unfortunately, perceptions are kind of everything.
I mean, I get that. I really do, because especially with, say, your music.
Mm-hmm.
If someone were to introduce me to your music for the first time, I would not think local artist. Your music actually, to me, it has the professional and louder quality sound. I don't know the right words for it. Damn it, Justin, where are you? But it has like the professional sound and quality to it that
Well,
really does hit, that it makes it sound like the mainstream artists I listen to.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of that. And that also kind of like funnels into my personal perspective on how running your band, your brand marketing and all that. Like, if I kind of feel like if you want people to take you seriously and really dedicate time to checking you out, you need to kind of appeal to what they're most used to listening to in terms of like volume, sonic quality. And really you should want that for yourself anyways. Like that's you want to put out the best possible representation of your art. And so that's definitely finding the right studio slash producer, finding the right mastering engineer. I've been very fortunate that I found Ben, um, because I actually he had a podcast with another producer, and this was around the time where he was starting to kind of pick up traction. He was starting to make it like his day job. But I remember, and there was an episode where he had worked with a pop artist. He'd done a lot of programming on her track, and I didn't realize that he was near me around the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
And it was after I originally had released Still Breathing, like the original version of it that's not up anymore. Like it had no strings to it. The drums were just edited loops. Like it was just it really wasn't super well done. And at the time, it was my first like foray into going back to being a recording artist. And so I had the itch to write and record music, and I kind of just found someone who I could record with and get something decent out of. But I knew that at the end of it, like the song did not have everything I wanted. So when I listened to his production he did, I immediately reached out to him and I was like, hey man, like I love the production work you did with this artist. Like I wanted strings in this song. Like the drums need redone. Like this song needs like some life support. Will you help me? And he went through and he took Still Breathing to like a whole new level sonically and with production. And then, I mean, I've pretty much like exclusively worked with Ben ever since Still Breathing Redux. We did colors together. It was like a couple months later I had scheduled time with him to start the process of recording colors. So um, that's the big thing, man. Like you have to match people's expectations of when they put on a track and take the time to ensure that you are putting out the best representation possible of your music. And that was something I'd strived to do with As I Speak, because I didn't want people to disregard, what I considered, my best work at the time as an artist out of hand because they couldn't stand to listen to it. So
Yeah. So, okay, you said your best work at the time. So, what would you
yeah.
consider your best work now?
Um it's kind of a toss up. There are aspects of Mend and Surrender that I really, really love. Um and I guess it's hard to denote like what the best work is, because I try to outdo myself a little bit every time. I try to grow and improve as a songwriter with every new track. Um, I guess for me, it would be Surrender for the chorus, like the hook of the chorus. I had started a new approach with writing where I was plotting out um, my cadences and my melodies on a piano. And so
Oh,
once I had figured out the cadence and like the melody that I liked, I would write my lyrics to that cadence. And so like I literally will sit there
really?
and like yeah, I will sit there literally and craft my vocal melody throughout the entirety of the song and then get the lyrics written to it.
That sounds backwards to me.
And it might be. It's an ongoing process of deciding like what's the best way songwriting works for me. Like the new track that I'm working on, I'm still hammering out the chorus. I think I've settled on what it's going to be, but then now I have to
Is
work
this
on the
the one you
verses
recently
and
sent me?
yeah, yeah, I have
That's going to
settled
be
on
good.
the chorus. I've settled on the chorus for it. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like it's funny. This was the first song that actually started out with just having a vocal idea by itself.
Really?
Like the chorus that I originally had, it was literally I had the melody and the guitar in my head, but I had to get the chorus itself sang, um, so I didn't lose it. And then we took that into the studio, took that into the studio with Ben a couple weeks ago, and um, I just sang it into a microphone into his computer, and we just looped it and played guitar behind it, and then he put drums to it just so we could
Nice.
start getting the idea down.
Well,
So
it sounds backwards to me because, like, I don't even know how you people put it to music. Um, I'm a writer, and so to me, the lyrics matter. Listen, I will listen to metal. Okay, there are some artists I love it out there. The genre is hard to actually define on them. Um,
mhm.
I can't always understand everything that they're saying. Please give me lyrics. I go directly to their freaking Bandcamp site to look for the lyrics. Um, to me, the lyrics matter as much as the music I'm listening to.
Sure.
But I don't know how I would ever put this rambling free flow of insanity that creates my
um
writing to an actual like melody. Is that like the hardest part of the entire thing? I mean, what's
Honestly, I still feel most comfortable as an instrumentalist when it comes to the writing. Writing lyrics and vocals is still very new to me, and so it is a longer process. It is the longest process of me completing my songs because I'm aware that that is the area where I need the most improvement, and so I am the most meticulous and like careful as I do it, because I don't have the confidence yet to know that as soon as I write something down, I'm just like, that's it. Like, this is it. I know exactly what I'm doing. Like, it's just not there yet. So it's a process. Like, I'm still deciding if the way that I've started doing things is the best way to do it. Um, so basically, at least with this song, I already had a general idea of what it was going to be about. And then once we had it down and I was listening to it, the more I listened to it, the more I was kind of like, I don't know if this is what I want it to be. And so, like, I still kept a general idea of what was behind the lyrics. And then I was just kind of like, I need to work out an interesting cadence because the one that I had initially was kind of boring and kind of safe. So once I had that, at that point, I used the notes as a guide to fit my lyrics within. And then I can work
oh,
out the cadence more so afterwards. So it's it's a lot easier once I get something down, uh, and just kind of go from there. I don't always start out from the chorus. Sometimes I'll just start out with like writing the instrumentality or the instrumentation of the music, but this time was different. I started out with a vocal idea and then put music to it. So that was different. That was interesting.
okay. Yeah, I wouldn't understand like and then you guys have to have that hook.
Yeah.
Gotta have that and oh God. God love you for it. What why do you do it?
It feels great. Honestly, it feels great to do. I mean, I definitely miss playing live. It is on my list of to do. There's just a couple of things I got to work out. I've already got some people that I've talked to that are interested, and I think are just kind of waiting for me to say like, "Hey, I'm ready to do this. Like,
It's time.
let's
Let's
work out.
go.
I got a plan." But there's a couple of things I got to square away first before I'm able to start doing that. But I miss it. I miss playing live, and I guess that's kind of one of the reasons why I write. I mean, one is just to kind of process my emotions in like a healthy way, and then the other is just like a setup for going out and bringing it to people and getting that energy. You know, people have told me like, why don't you just play the backing tracks just so you can go out and play? But it's not the same. Like for me to play all the backing tracks through some speakers, it's not going to have the same energy. People aren't going to feel it the same. So it's just one of those things where if I'm going to do it, you know, got to do it right. And um, I mean that's why. And the hook is so important too. Like my God, that's the thing that I stress the most about when I'm doing it. It's like it's not done until it's done.
Yeah, I think that everybody plays in a different way. Some of the most intense performances that I've ever seen in my life involved an artist on stage with backing tracks, maybe, one guitarist. And like you watch these people, and it's something I see in you, um, and it's for me personally, it's a true sign of like, okay, it's an overused phrase for me, but the beautiful madness consumes the soul whenever you really are an artist. Is I see this person that I've hung out with, I've talked to, I've known for years, and we're hanging out before the show, and then they head on stage and they become a different animal.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
And that
absolutely.
is whatever it takes to get you to be that different animal is what's right for you. And if for you it involves having and like okay, for example, I mean, and I can't help it. I'm about to show my age, my genre, and everything else about me. Um, one of my favorite artists is Trent Reznor, who
Mm-hmm.
started with only himself in a studio, nobody
Yeah.
else doing anything. But he doesn't go through with just backtracks. He waits and has an entire configuration of people to cover everything that he's done. Whereas there are artists, even larger artists, who still go out with a backing track.
Yeah, and it's no shade to anybody that you know that's right for them or it works for them. I mean, I'm sure some of it is probably just in my head, anyways. You know, because I'm so used to being a guitarist live that it's going to be really different for me to now be playing a different role. Because before it was like, you know, I could jam to the music, I could interact with the crowd because all I'm doing is, you know, playing guitar and stuff. And now I'm going to be behind the microphone and my interaction is going to be singing. So I have to find a new way to interact with the crowd and and give them that energy and get that energy back from them. It's just like that's the coolest thing about playing live. It's an energy exchange, and it's kind of like it's almost like this ethereal kind of quality to where it's just like you just feel the energy in a room. It's like almost like electricity, and so
Yes.
you know that back and forth, like there's a certain intensity that comes from feeling the air push out of the speaker when it's a live drum kit, where you're
Yes.
getting hit in the chest in a way that you can't if you're just playing a backing track. So like there's it's just one of those things like yeah I could probably find a drummer and then just do like and just fill in the gaps, but that's still just not enough people in my opinion to give that energy that you're really needing, or at least what I need when I perform live. And that could just like I said, that could just be a me thing.
And it could be, but again, if that's what you need,
Yeah.
that's what you need. And the energy exchange is probably my favorite part of live music. I mean, truly, it is. Just I don't know. There is like something else is happening in the room than just listening to music. You know, if it is truly one of my favorite things ever, and it is one of the things that's kept me loving music for as long as I have. But there's also something to be said for listening alone. Okay, you know, like you know that I did this, and seriously, it was one of those moments whenever I was listening to Surrender
Mm-hmm.
after it first came out and everything, and I had it playing, and you know, I'm not quite telling him because he already knows all of this. I'm telling the rest of you, like, you have that moment with music, and I'm listening to it, and it just was hitting me. And I'm driving down my road, which, if anyone has any idea where I live like I am in the sticks. I am sticks of the sticks. Okay, I'm in a valley inside of a valley. Um, so I'm driving through basically this forest with barely a road. Um, and out comes the sun. It like this crescendo moment of the song. Out comes the sun.
Nice.
Out comes just like this blue, beautiful sky, and just like and the world. And I was like, I have to tell him this happened. So like he got this overly excited video of me being like, "Oh my god, this thing just." But like it's one of those moments where I was so electrified by the music, and then that happening,
Mm-hmm.
that's stuck in here now. I can't remember
dope.
I can't remember where I put my keys half the time. But if there is an emotional component to it, I will remember it. I can bring out the charts and the data, and like we were 1.2 miles from my house.
I would definitely say that Surrender is probably my most emotional song, and so I definitely get that. It's my most emotional song for sure.
Yeah, there is such a beauty to it. There really is. And I hate, and I'm going to say for us, because I am a writer, and even some of my favorite photos that I have created came from pain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, you're creating something out of your emotions. It's the stained glass road I always talk about. Um, well, stained glass theory, but I hate that artistic people have had those things or emotions happen to create the art that they did, but at the same time, thank God that
Yeah.
they have the ability to put it out there to touch other people who have felt that.
Yeah. It's it's cool to be able to kind of put stuff out there that people can relate to, and you never know who you're gonna touch with it. You never know like how someone will interpret the song and what it means to them despite of what it means to you, and I kind of feel like that's like the best part of it, because it's cool that one piece of art can hold meaning, like 20 different meanings to 20 different people, 40, 60, 80, however many people. So it's really cool that it's shared in a way that is so, I don't know how to phrase it, like it's so transitional and
Yeah.
or transcending. I guess transcending might be the best word, just because of how it takes on different meaning for people, but it's probably my favorite aspect of music that I've written.
But I can also understand your use of transitional because truly, whatever this originally was turned into this for this person, turned into that for that person. There have been songs that I have heard that the entire song doesn't quite hit me, but the chorus or a portion, just like, oh my God. You know, and I don't know what they actually meant with this portion of it, but I took it to be this.
Yeah.
You know, there's one actually, like, I think it was meant to be a love song by an artist that I listened to. And it was, from my understanding, like a love song for their significant other. But the chorus has "stand firm" in it, and that entire chorus, like, I will play that over and over again just for the freaking chorus, because there are times I need that message. You know, and it's just, it's like, the way that I interpret is not going to be the same way anybody else interprets with anything. And like, surrender causes me to have these emotions almost of, like, I don't know, like, this is going to sound so weird and dramatic, but am in fact weird and dramatic. So, you know, I'm a chaotic little gremlin, but, you know, it kind of like leaves me in like an open field with like sun, and just being like, you know what, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're here. This is what we're doing. And I'm just going to hand it over, and I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to put this, it's okay.
Yeah, definitely the intention behind it, like when I wrote the melody and the lyrics and everything, like I definitely feel like that was kind of part of the original intentions. It was supposed to be like that kind of thing of like, quit like trying to fight whatever it is that you are going through and just let it happen. And
Yeah.
like the like there's obviously like a pain and a strife that comes through that, but there's also freedom of finally being able to let something wash over you so you can let it go. So I think that was kind of like one of my intentions behind how I wrote that. So
Yeah, no, that, and that's also a message that, like, I have needed at various times in my life. And oh my God, like the last few years of my life needed, we need surrender. We need surrender.
yeah,
Oh,
and
life can
that's
become chaotic.
well, and that's kind of it. Also, like in a really abstract way, also plays into like the Sphinx's riddle. You know, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? You know, they surrender. And so that kind of plays into that in an
Ooh,
abstract way.
I
And like
like
when we
that.
ever, like the way that we try to fight the things that we're not ready to go through. And then we eventually will go through it. And at the end of it, you're just kind of like, why did I wait so long? Why did I carry this weight for so long when I didn't have to? But it's just part of the human experience. And, you know, you mentioned uh, choruses being what really captures you, and sometimes you just need that, and you'll listen to the song just for the chorus.
Yeah.
And I definitely have strived to not write songs that where the chorus is like the only part that someone wants to listen to. But I do recognize that um, a strong chorus can lift up some of like the song's weaker aspects in a way. And I, of course, no one intentionally writes anything weak, but
Right.
um, there's definitely songs where you listen to where you're like, I'm glad I stuck around, for that chorus. That chorus really hit. So like that's the part that I put the most time into at first. But I've been making a really conscious effort to really make the songs as complete as possible and try to keep things as uniform as possible in terms of like every part being strong all the way through. And of course that's going to be subjective to anybody that listens to it, but it's
It
definitely
is.
something I put a conscious effort into.
It is. And the chorus is often very important to me.
Sure.
but sometimes a phrase or a way that it's said will get
Yeah.
me. I am trying to think of the artist name. I believe the song is Dark Angel. I am a really bad music person because like it's on my playlist and
Mhm.
I don't know, it's the song I like and it does the thing. That's I
Yeah.
mean, that's really like it's the song I like and it does that thing. Um but as much as I love the song, much as I love the chorus, as much as I love the intent of the song, there's this part in it where the second vocalist is like the way he says it is like I'm going to do what I want to do or I'm going to do what I'm going to do and the way that he says it like won't get out of my brain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will be scratching my brain. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll listen to it just to be able to,
And that's yeah, I totally get that because like, like in terms if we're talking about music, there's only 12 notes, right? So there's only 12 notes, and then there is umpteen amounts of keys. You got all those different notes have major scales, they have minor scales. So like you're like even though you're working with 12 notes, there's so many different directions, and because of that, especially with writing like a vocal melody, I have this new track. I have wrote the chorus three different ways, and so like I'm kind of picking which phrasing I like from which aspect, and like seeing if I can kind of Frankenstein something together that makes sense. Because yeah, the note selection is important. The phrasing of it is really important. Um, it just kind of it sticks. People's brains, things stick in different ways, and I'll listen to other music, and I'm just kind of like I want to make sure I don't make things overly complex, but I don't want them to be boring. And so like you listen, like even going back and listening to Just Pretend, there's like only 4 or 5 notes through that whole
yeah,
chorus. And like the phrasing of it is there's only certain aspects of where the phrasing cadence of it changes. So it's like, it it's an effort for me to not listen to my music and say, "Oh, that's too simple. That's too boring." Because it might not be. I might be throwing out like a really cool chorus just
yeah,
because, so
you're overthinking.
it's yeah, and of course like it's not I don't write in a way where I'm trying to necessarily compete with people, but I think it's a product of the fact that I'm still very new to songwriting in general, to where like I don't yet have the confidence to know that I've done fine on the first draft, and I don't have to constantly retool it or do research to make sure that I've written something good, especially because I still release in like the single format. So like the tracks that I release have to last for like 3 months. So like I have to make sure, you know,
Yeah,
that what I'm releasing is something that people are not going to immediately discard after the first listen. So it's a little bit more. Uh, it takes a little more time.
so we're at 53 minutes and we normally try to keep this around an hour,
Oh,
but I have a
sorry, I know
question.
I am
Oh,
a talker. I'm sorry.
sir, no, I love that you're a talker. Okay, I've actually enjoyed this. The reason I'm pointing that out is because there is one question I have been meaning to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, and this is delving into your psyche because I do know you, and this is what I do to people that I do know is I torture them.
Mm.
Keep saying you're a little artist, you're a small artist, you're an unknown artist, you're new to this. Okay, I personally don't feel that you are new to this because I've known you as an artist for so long. So here's the question.
Okay.
When do you think, what is it going to take for you to finally look around and go, you know what? I'm actually good at this. I'm actually good at this. I am no longer a newbie here. What's it going to
Um,
take?
I think it's going to take not living in a bubble anymore in terms of, you know, not being out in front of faces playing. I think it's gonna take for me to go out and see how people respond to my music in a live setting, in general, who have never heard me before. I think once I get that response from people and I see how the music affects them and what it means to them, I think at that point I'll allow myself a little bit more space to accept that I'm growing. But right now, I'm just a guy that releases music every few months, and I've had the fortune that there's a lot of people that have responded positively to it, and I just need to get out in front of people that haven't, and hope that I make a really good impression.
That is totally fair. I think that is totally fair. So people can find you
Mm-hmm.
on anything Saloon Records.
Yes.
They can find you on Facebook, on Instagram. You said you have X, but like you just don't.
That place has just become kind of a cesspool, and I just stay away from it at this point.
Yeah, actually, I could totally agree with that. Bandcamp.
Through Solar Records, yes, they have all my music on their store.
Okay, so people can actually purchase your stuff
Mm-hmm.
to support you.
Yes.
Okay, so that's important. Now I'm wearing a Silhouette Death shirt, and I just, I'm kind of wondering, like, have you mentioned if you have any kind of, I don't know, merch out there? Anywhere, possibly?
Yeah, it looks like a Chinese knockoff. I should probably get on that. Like,
God
no,
bless
so to
Jerry,
keep every
because
to keep
he got this ready for me to be able to do that line right there.
To keep everything simple, I do have a link tree, to where you can find all my stuff. It's like it's on my Facebook page. It's on Instagram. It does have a direct link to my merch store. Um, I have to go through because apparently the supplier that I use for my tank tops no longer makes them. So I actually have to take that off my store. But I do have hoodies, t-shirts with a couple different designs. I have the mug. I have some cell phone cases.
People, it's
And
a color changing mug. It's a color changing.
So I do have some items for sale. I am going to be working on getting some new designs as well, and get that out there. I'm still deciding how I'm going to do it for the live setting. I know people love to purchase merch whenever they go out and things like that.
Absolutely.
But I'm kind of deciding I may get a design that's specifically for live shows, and it's the only place that you can buy it. So that way, that I think that'll kind of keep my costs down a little bit if I'm only bringing designs of one shirt. And then, of course, if anyone has any other designs that they like and they're online, then you can buy them online. But I think it'd be cool to have a specific design for live. It just has to make sure it's a really cool design so that people
absolutely.
People aren't kind of like, that's it. Like, I want it to be something that wows people so that they want to buy it regardless if it's even the only design there.
Yeah, and it's special that it would be live only design. That's a great idea. If you don't mind me offering up an idea that I have seen at shows, which is I have seen a tablet set up that is already open to their merch store.
I've thought about that. It's funny, with my tech package with school, I got an iPad that we never used for anything, like, at all. So I've got I would just have to get some kind of card reader or whatever. But yeah. That's on my list. That's definitely an option. I've thought about that as well, just to kind of make it easy. So
yeah, it's all great stuff. And I'm enjoying you are on TikTok. Am I correct?
Yes, God, I can't believe I forgot to say that I was on TikTok. Yes, I'm on Tiktok.
I was going to say, because you're actually doing the thing. You're putting out the videos. You're doing all of that. So definitely, and do you have your own YouTube, or are you also on
I do.
Salunar's?
No, so I actually do have my own YouTube. That's also in my link tree. I actually have my own artist channel on YouTube. Because when you go through a distribution service, they will make a secondary, like they will make their own YouTube channel of you, or call it like the topic channel. So with YouTube, when you merge into an artist channel, it takes all of those and it merges you into your channel.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so I do have my own artist channel on YouTube with a bunch of different releases. As far as any like upcoming plans, I plan on doing a lot of vocal covers and kind of putting them out as like reels and TikToks and things like that. To be a little bit more present online with social media. I fully admit that I'm really bad at it, and I think it's also because uh, since I haven't played out live. I mean, I don't want to post the same thing every single day. I want to give something fresh for
Yeah.
people to see. So live photos, performance videos, vocal covers. Like it's I have a list of things that I'm going to start doing more of. So
Well, it's really nice to see you doing more of the videos. You actually do those very well. So, and I love just to see your presence on social media. It's really nice to see you pushing yourself out there, fighting those algorithms.
yeah, I mean, you get differing opinions. Some people say the algorithm's really hard, and other people are like, it's really not that difficult. You just have to post a lot, and it's one of those things where uh, I got to find the balance. And I think what I plan on doing is filming like 3 or 4 different vocal covers and just kind of like putting one out every couple days, just to kind of have that out there. So, and it's going to be a lot of fun for me to do that as well, because it'll give people something to listen to other than what I've recorded, uh, and kind of give people a different idea of like where my voice sits and all the different things that I can do with it. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. I just have to score a particular microphone that I want so that I can do it.
And I understand that. So I can't speak for other algorithms, but for anyone who, I have done behind the scenes on people's pages and everything else. The Facebook algorithm is very simple.
Mm.
I cannot speak for the other ones like this. It changes somewhat, but the base algorithm of a program will always remain that program's main algorithm, which is a party at a friend's house.
Yeah, TikTok is kind of weird because what I have found is all of my videos that I put on TikTok have topped out around 700 views and then it just dies. And that's something that I've seen a
That's
lot of people talk
odd.
about. Yeah, basically, like the way TikTok works is when you initially put that video out, unless a ton of people are interacting with it, as soon as it comes out, it'll just kind of push it lightly out to like whatever hashtags that you pick. But the more people that interact with it quickly, the more people see it. So it's really about like putting out, the engaging content, the stuff that people want to see. I I can't bring myself to do skits. Like it's just it makes me uncomfortable to feel like I'm acting on camera.
Yeah.
And like of course like every people make their livings off of doing it. So obviously it's not nearly as corny to watch as it is to sit and perform.
They're
Um,
also more actor types. You're a
yeah,
performer, but you're not like an actor.
yeah. So that's kind of why I want to do like the vocal covers and things like that. And I've kind of also debated on going live and trying different avenues for like interacting with people live to see if people just kind of hang out maybe while like I
Yeah.
either like game on Twitch, or if I like sit there and have my computer open to like Apple Music and I'm just like, let's just hang out and I'll play music. Like someone, what do you want to listen to? Like, let's
I've
chill.
seen that. Yeah, I've seen that happen in algorithms and it goes wild.
Yeah, so that's definitely there's avenues of this that I have a couple things that I need to take care of to get myself in the space to do that comfortably and for it to be really cool. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on.
Well, keep working on it because you're doing very well from what I see.
Thank you.
But for any of those, I think we've already lost Instagram. I think Instagram cuts us off at like exactly 1 hour. So people
Oh,
just have to come to YouTube and find us, and this is a wild, but you could probably go onto the First Angel Media website where we'll have this entire thing embedded as a post, and
awesome.
just saying. And eventually, well, I was hoping to start it for next year. There will be a Jana Machika website.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, doing live readings of my stuff, my works, and
Okay.
selling photos and all of that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have in a day.
I get it. Totally get it.
But
Totally get it.
yeah, yeah. I've life, life it gets you.
Before we do go, I will say, since completing school, on top of doing As I Speak, I am stepping into the role also as a producer. And I want to work with bands, get them into the studio to record with me. So if there's anybody out there that's looking for a little production help, help you with some of the songwriting before you hit the studio, get you sounding your best, definitely hit me up, and let's work together.
Oh, absolutely. And I have seen it happen where having a producer, like not just someone in the booth being like, okay, ready for me to hit record, but having an actual producer can mean such a difference.
Yeah, you can't exist in an echo chamber, and a producer is really good at being objective about your music where you can't be. And it's not a bad thing that you have trouble being objective necessarily, just as long as you are open to listening. That's kind of like the big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that.
So,
I kind of feel like there needs to be another episode, maybe not just of you, but where Justin gets his bear petting self back here and we like do just kind of a round table and talk about what it's like to be on these various social media platforms and being someone that isn't exactly not you, but another version of you, because you know what I looked like 2 hours ago. I was not this put together. I do not speak this put together. I used the word opulent in a sentence earlier and then went to look it up to make certain I did not make a fool of myself. So, like, what it's kind of like to be in all of these situations where, like, you have to be the professional version of yourself and look at how people view you through the lens of social media. I think that would be a really cool one to just sit down and talk about, if you wouldn't mind coming back sometime.
of course, I'm totally open. I know that JT was wanting me to come back too. When it's closer to like the next release and talking about that too. So like I'm always more than happy, as long as people don't mind that. I don't know how to keep it short and sweet sometimes. I
No,
try my
dude,
best, but
I personally love it whenever people talk because it's really difficult being a podcaster and trying to like, can I talk to me? Tell me something, please. Um, I just had an idea, and since JT from Beyond the Breakdown, Six Scars, and Killbait Overdose will be on next Saturday, maybe I had to talk to him about all of us getting together and doing
yeah,
like
that
a
would be
four-man
cool.
roundtable and kind of a crossover, because that would be really cool. And you guys, seriously, next week we'll have Justin's bearded ass back here, helping me to do these interviews. So you only got my side of things. But I had a great time interviewing you tonight. I actually learned, I love it whenever I've known you for so long, but I've learned more about your process and how you're viewing things. That was really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's always nice hanging out with you. I'm glad that we finally got to do this. I know that you talked about doing a podcast with me, like, God, it was like a year ago, and it just never came together.
Justin and I have had this podcast, but we are both erratic little goblins, and chaos thrives in our lives, and things happened in his life and then in mine to where it was like impossible for us to truly sit down and do this. And then over the summer, we were like, you know what, we missed this. We
Yeah.
really missed this. And that's whenever the insane little video, because I was like, oh, but we always come on like, hey, we're here. How are you? We're live. And so I made up the silly little video. I was like, oh, I'm thinking it could be like this. And then, of course, I can't do anything halfway. So I went and made the video. And he's like, is that me jumping off a cliff? I was like,
I think there needs to be a picture of him petting a bear.
there now needs to be a picture of him petting a bear. And I'm going to do the jankiest Photoshop job of that ever. And it has to be in there now. But I'm actually thinking, like, I don't know, maybe it needs some music behind it. But that silly video may be our intro to this. Get them really ready for what they're about to experience.
Like, this is gonna be a whole hour of bullshit.
I loved this though. So if anyone wants to find a smaller artist with a larger sound, then definitely go check out As I Speak, all the socials, all the everything, and expect to see Zach back with us at least one more
Absolutely.
episode. And if you stayed with us this long, don't worry. I'll be putting out the videos talking about us talking to him. JT will be joining us next Saturday at 8 p.m. So tune back in and, get more of this. I personally am enjoying it.
I did too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, hon. I'm really glad you could join us. Okay, so we are now going to attempt to end the stream here. So Lunar Records, As I Speak, First Angel Media, Jana Lima Chica, and Zach does have his own platforms, just being Zach. So, Zach Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see you all later, and come back and join us next Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
I think it's ending them.